This looks great, and I'm real intrigued by it. And I was concerned about what kind of value you were going to add if all the other platforms ended up going the way of the pre. But it sounds like you've got some good plans there. I wonder if you could speak to the concern that people had a little bit when the pre came out, when they said you can't build stable, heavy-duty mobile apps in HTML and JavaScript.
Yeah, I mean, that's a similar concern that people had in the early days of the web when they thought JavaScript and HTML wouldn't really work out. But I think we've been through that and seen that it works. There is limitations, though. If you're going to build a fully immersive 3D game, like I saw a grand GTA clone for the iPhone, and that's probably better to do in Objective-C and get advantage of the OpenGL libraries. But for anything that's like a social networking app, a client for data services, kind of augmented reality apps using camera and GPS and some lighter weight things, HTML and JavaScript is going to be, more than you need. And the thing is, it's an open source development framework, so if you wanted to reach out and go lower level, of course you lose across platform, but you can still, augment your app, do graphics and stuff like that. But the first app I showed, Blockbuster, used accelerometer, had, animation and was quite smooth. So most apps, the user will never, ever know that it wasn't built with Objective-C and this HTML and JavaScript under the hood. And I think as the devices get better, that'll just, the performance will get better and JavaScript will run faster.
I'm a fan of this write once, run anywhere concept, right? So it's phenomenal. I like it as well. I just want to get your thoughts on the pre, and now with Winmo 6.5 coming out, we have this little shim for HTML, JavaScript, mini gadgets, if I may. So what are your thoughts on that? Is what you provide with PhoneGap going to be a shim on top of the shim, or what are your thoughts on the pre?
Essentially, yeah, today it'll be a shim on top of a shim. But we're looking at HTML5, so like our geolocation spec is the same as HTML5 and what the W3C are doing. And we hope everyone goes that way. We're also talking to Bondi. It's a spec from the OMTP. And we're trying to get our APIs aligned. One advantage we have is we have working code today, and we have it deployed in app stores. And people are actually using it, so we get developer feedback, and we're trying to make adjustments. Overall, though, we kind of have this development philosophy of we hope PhoneGap kind of cease to exist one day because the browsers on the phones provide these APIs natively, and then we'll just be, an API that you can program to today, so you're kind of future-proofing your HTML and JavaScript application. But I'd imagine the browsers are going to evolve and provide all this stuff in there, in which case our development tools and services for doing the builds and stuff will still work, and testing will still be an issue, and there's other opportunities down the road. But that is a very grandiose kind of vision, right? I mean, we have Internet Explorer and Firefox and Safari and Chrome now, and they're not all the same, right? So that's why we still need libraries like jQuery and Dojo and Prototype and those sort of things. So down the road, hopefully we'll just be like that, but for today we need a different solution.
Is there anyone else that's doing something similar?
Yeah, there's similar approaches. I mean, obviously cross-platform development for mobile devices, right, once run everywhere is a hot topic. So there's a couple other companies, one called Rhodes, which is focused on a kind of Ruby approach and make it easier for Ruby developers. And then there's kind of an Objective-J initiative, so for Java developers. We're not aware of any others that are focusing purely on HTML and JavaScript and making that the main development model, which is what we know at Natobi. We've done JavaScript and Ajax consulting for companies like Adobe and Microsoft. We wrote a book called Enterprise Ajax for Prentice Hall. So we have a lot of JavaScript skills, and we wanted to leverage those, and we think HTML is also a good way to go. It's a popular language and seems to be doing well.
Just real quick, since we're talking about success, revenue, real quick. Can you talk a little bit about potential for making money?
For making money, like the business model?
Yep.
Yeah, so we're going to be selling developer tools, so a Dreamweaver extension and Eclipse plugin, which will license developers. We're also going to have an enterprise license, which will be for larger customers who need the APIs to be stable for a period of 5 years, and bundle in support. So, kind of an open core business model where the framework will always be free and open source and evolving quickly, and then we'll have an enterprise version which will be more stable and for larger customers. And then the hosted service where it does the build in the cloud and gives you back all your builds, that will be a subscription-based service for developers that will tie into the emulator, which we're distributing for free, and also the IDE plugin. So the build happens, you don't have to have, Cocoa and Eclipse and all these different tools and build chains set up on your computer as a developer, because building them is one thing, and then testing them and having the emulators is a really painful process. So we'll do that as a hosted service. You can see what's going on, and you get them all back via URL to send to your consumers or distribute them to the app stores. So that'll be a paid-for service.
Sorry, just one more question, John. Video. Can your camera pick up video right now? Or
Yeah, so the way we're handling video is we're following, again, the HTML5 spec for a video tag. So you say video, and then whatever the PhoneGap wrapper is on the native environment. So if it's Objective-C on the iPhone, we just get that tag, pass in the media file. As long as it's the right media file, it plays video just like any other app would. And in some cases, you can embed it right in there. Like on Nokia, you can have Flash running in the web runtime, so that won't really be an issue.
So I should clarify, capturing video.
Oh, for capturing video?
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't really crossed that bridge yet. We're trying to keep like a subset of all the APIs possible so that we can maintain the cross-platform. Like there's not a common way to do that yet. But again, because it's an open source framework, you could definitely have your video component that's written in the native code and then pass that into your application, upload it to the server, and do that sort of thing.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Very much. All right.